5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your moment. And we're live on YouTube.
All right, everyone. So I think we're ready to get started with this second session, Real World Materiality in Action. I would like to welcome our moderator for this session, Ms. Carmen Sobalbarro. The floor is all yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining to this second session. And I am very honored to introduce Dr. Dawn Wink. She is a writer and a teacher educator whose transdisciplinary work explores the beauty and tensions of multilingualism, multiculturalism, TESOL, and eco-linguistics. Dr. Wink's latest work focuses on translanguaging, wildness, beauty, and imagination in language contexts. She has 25 years of experience in teaching education within the US and around the world. Author of Meadowlark, a novel of the Great Plains, co-author with John Wink of Teaching Passionately, What's Love Got to Do with It? Dr. Wink created a literary educational Black community, Dewdrops. Dr. Wink lives with her family in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Doctor, the room is yours.
Hello, good morning. And perhaps, I don't know if we have people joining from outside of Honduras. Could be good afternoon, good evening. I am thrilled to be here, and I hope we will use the chat. I would love to know where you are joining us from within Honduras, the name of your city, the name of your town, the name of your school. We'll use that chat a lot because it's going to be as if we're all together in a room, gathered and talking. And so, yes, I'm Dawn Wink. Please feel free to call me Alba, which is my name as many in Spanish. Dawn, amanecer. Is a disaster in English. It sounds like down, like everybody, todos me dicen, como abajo. No, no me llamo abajo. Alba, Irma, bienvenidos. Oh, Dilawar, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you. Hugs. Jocelyn, Jocelyn, I'm so happy you're here. Well, I also, and for those of you, if I've worked with you before, if we know each other, Mario, Dalia, ay, Monterrey de mi querido México, qué bien, Autónoma de México. And I brought some flowers from my garden. Those of you who I know and love know how much I love flowers. And I wish I could bring these. I love to bring gifts. Teresa, welcome, Fernando. Oh, hugs. I wish I could bring flowers to you in person, and so I'm bringing to you. I literally was out there this morning in the dark. I know where the flowers were, getting the roses, so here's some. I will continue to bring them back for us. And I am so thrilled. Jacobo, Leslie, Elizabeth, Daisy. Well, thank you. I'm going to go back and forth between sharing my screen. We'll go ahead and dive in, and then we'll come back together and gather together. Teresa, oh, Eric Schultz, how wonderful. Welcome. Okay, let me share my screen for a tiny bit, and then we'll come back together. So let me go. Let's see how this works. You tell me. We've done some practice runs, but I want to make sure this is good. So you tell me what you see. Do you see my screen? Can you please give me, is it a full screen of my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and dive in. And this is, so I wanted to share this. I thought we might be connecting from me in my house this morning, but I decided to come to campus. But I wanted to share when we gather together frequently. This is usually my view. This is some work that I was doing in Panama. And so I know that I'm someone that I love to get a sense of where you are. I love space. I love to get that sense. This is my view when I'm at home. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And also, I like to know a little bit about when I am hearing someone speak or when I'm, engaging with somebody, I like to know a little bit about them. So like I said, my name in English is Dawn Amanecer Alba Wenk, which of course in Spanish means guiñar. And so soy un verbo total, like I'm just a total verb. So, pero con confianza, I hope you will say Alba instead of down. So I just wanted to introduce you. This is my family. This is, of course, me, my husband. There's my mom and my dad. And these are our three children, my oldest son, Wyatt, and my daughter, Wynn, and then my son, Luke. And I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm a runner. So I have approximately 1 billion pictures of sunrises and sunsets, many of which you will get to see in this presentation. So I wanted to include that. My family has a ranch in South Dakota. You will see many more pictures of this ranch because we just got back, but look at those beautiful flowers. And this is me, this was just last week. And so on the ranch, so in addition to being an educator and a mom and a daughter, I am also I come from a ranching background, entonces soy vaquera. I'm also a cowgirl. So I wanted how we all bring all of these different elements of ourselves into our life. I want our time together here for you to bring all elements of yourself. It's why I fell in love with transdisciplinarity, where we take the different threads and the different disciplines of our lives and we braid them together into one. That's what our time together is going to be. This is me again. If I can give you flowers, I will. So I'm bringing you more flowers. I love to write. I'm a writer. So here is a book that my mother and I, who Diluar knows, co-wrote, Teaching Passionately, What's Love Got to Do with It? This is a fiction book that I wrote about, very roughly based on my great-grandmother on the plains of South Dakota, which you shall see. And then I love research. I love research and methods. And I have a chapter that just came out in this book. So I share this because I hope you will bring your full and whole self to our time here together. Now, let's take some deep breaths, all of us. Literally, deep breaths. One. Let's take another one. And another one. And I am going to invite all of us, because I know that we all lead very rich, full lives with lots of responsibilities and lots of obligations in lots of places. Let's go ahead and just get grounded in this time and space that we share here together, and lift up all those other worries and all those other obligations, all of the responsibilities, and let's just take advantage of this very, very precious time that we have here together and stay focused on the here and the now and being here together. And I share the candles in honor of Isabel Allende, who is one of my heroines. When she sits down to write, she always lights a candle to invite the spirits. And so I'm going to light the candle to invite the spirits. And there's always water there. And here I have some more flowers from the garden. Terry Tempest Williams, another one of my heroines, always has water when she writes, a cup of it on her desk, to remind her that transformation is occurring even when we don't see it, even when it's invisible. So as the water evaporates, so occurs transformation. And sometimes I think we don't realize that. And so I wanted to, so I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you. And as we move, and I'm going to stop sharing here for just a moment because I'm going to propose some of the ideas we play with. But I also brought because I know I like to see when people share. So I brought here some of those books. All of mine that are my books are filled with notes and letters and all those things. So I brought those here to share with you today. This is my copy of Teaching Passionately. Now, there's my mom. See this little honey bunny right here who's 3 years old? She's now 26. That's my daughter. And that's how old she was when we were writing this book. And here is the latest that I have a chapter that just came out in that I just wanted to share with you. So, and I also, oops, I lost Frida. And another one of my great passions I have to share is Frida Kahlo. And so I don't know if does anybody else here love Frida? Any other Frida? Teresa, I saw you. Yes, I have my Frida here. Mario Alberto, claro que sí. Teresa, Daisy, our beloved Frida. Well, she is here with us today, nuestra Frida. Henry Castro, bienvenidos. Ibrahim, Daisy. Daisy, I could show you everywhere, all over right now. I have Frida. So let us go ahead and dive back in. So I am going to, here's some ideas that I want us to play with today. Here we go. Let's go ahead and dive back in. And again, these are ideas that we're going to play with, okay? And the idea is for my hope, my whole goal and my whole hope and my intention is when this precious little time that we have here together has come to an end, first of all, that we'll stay connected, and we have all that at the end. But the other is that you will, at the end of this time, have ideas that are real and meaningful to you so that your classroom, your students, your context, whatever we're talking about here, please think about it in terms of your context. So, how do real world materials enhance learners' engagement and motivation in the language classroom? Pop some ideas into the chat. Let's just go ahead and start our, and more flowers, of course, more flowers from the garden. Yeah, that I brought, I love to bring them. I love to gift them to people and surprise people and put them outside their door. So that's what that was. But let's just go ahead. Other ideas. How do real world materials enhance learners' engagement? Please just go ahead and pop them into the chat. And I've got my eye on that chat. Let's see what your experiences are. While I drink some amazing coffee in my cup from Costa Rica that I love. So, what are your thoughts? How do real life experiences? Let's go ahead and dive in. Please just pop them into the chat. They make our class more authentic. Absolutely. Gracias, Jocelyn. It gets them talking, sharing ideas. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Alma Delia. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? They provide cultural meaning. Brenna, absolutely. Makes learning meaningful, Juan Jacobo. Beautiful. Yes, 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 and yes, because without this, what kind of the learning is going to remain very superficial. So some more ideas. I want us. Students are placed in context that makes their learning more meaningful. Beautiful. Thank you, Maria Jose. Some more thoughts, connection, Jeffrey. Okay, in what ways, more thoughts, do real world materials help learners develop communicative competence beyond the textbook? Dilawar, thank you. Bringing language to life through materials, meaningful. Absolutely. This is a photo that I took one morning on my run because if you look closely, the leaves look like hearts. And so I stopped running and I took a photo. And I just loved it because I thought the leaves look like hearts. Yes, Kaden, it engages students cognitively and emotionally. Absolutely. Because what kind of learning is happening if they're not there cognitively and emotionally? Communicative competence, just to remind us all, is socially and emotionally appropriate. So how I talk con mis amigas, con mis comadres, how I talk with them is probably different than how I speak when I am in a formal setting or in a formal meeting. And as someone with communicative competence, I need to understand that. When they work with real materials, they can perceive their learning and be able to survive in the real world. Yes, 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 and yes, Dalia. More ideas we're going to play with. And I have to tell you, this picture of a butterfly, of a hummingbird, a dear friend of mine, Julia, took this photo. She takes tons of photos. She is an amazing photographer of hummingbirds, but she named this one Dawn because she said it reminded her of me. And this was a couple of years ago, and she sent me the photo. So I love this photo because it's named Dawn Alba. And so I thought I would bring a little, and of course, hummingbirds represent beauty and joy. So here's some for us all. How can real world materials better prepare learners for life and language use again outside of the classroom? Meaningful, meaningful, meaningful. Absolutely. If we stay with just the textbooks and just memorization and regurgitation, we are not giving them any tools for the real world, for like, well, maybe a few tools, I'll say. Okay, so here's some picture of some horses from the ranch. This is just last week, little baby. What has been your experience in this with your holistic with your teaching and learning? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other. But let's stay grounded in what has been your experience with this. Now, it could be as a learner and it could be as a teacher. But what's been your experience with real world materials? I'm going to bring these flowers just to get our thoughts going again. Please feel free, pop them into the chat. So for example, and while we're all thinking some of my real experiences, and we'll talk about them in a little bit, is I use Audiolibro a lot. I am constantly reading newspapers from Mexico, from España. I need you, please send me some recommendations for newspapers from Honduras. I need to add that to my linguistic repertoire. What are some of your experiences, either as a learner or as a teacher, using real world and authentic materials? I am curious to hear what you do in your classrooms. Go ahead and pop them in there. I'll take a sip of coffee. Here we go. Anybody in the chat? What do you do in your class? What kind of real world? I know you use some amaryllis. Amaryllis. Look, I don't have any amaryllis flowers, but what kind of real world things do you use in your pop? One thing into the chat. But I want to grow some of those, actually. I want to. Using Maritza, using music in lessons, videos, movies, clips, and memes. Absolutely. One more, one more. I always try to relate things that are happening. An earthquake in Huaute a few days ago in the latest Jurassic Park movie. I almost included that. I'm not even kidding. I almost included the latest as a movie in this slide. Perfect. So an ESL learner. I love songs. Let's see here. Context related. Bring their world that I create into my classroom. Let's dive back in. Absolutely beautiful. Here we go. Here we go. Back to see the baby horse and getting some more ideas. Here we go. Here we go. All righty, let's dive back in. So, okay. So and why do we do it and why is it important? So, and what comes up? One of the big reasons is the use of slang. It's how we talk. It's how native speakers speak. And it's a really important thing for people to use in whatever new context they are. For example, and since Spanish is my additional language, I will continue to use examples about why this is important but I'm going to use myself as a language learner. So for example, slang and informal language. Whoops, sorry. I hit the whoops, here we go. In things like podcasts, movies, YouTube videos. Oh my gosh, YouTube. It's free. There's so many resources. So for example, in a TV show, a character might say, I'm beat. Oh my God, I'm so beat. I'm so tired. Of course, I'm so beat. I'm so tired. Well, for a second language learner, for an English language learner, to learn I'm beat, because of course, the first time they hear it, unless they understand that that's slang for I'm so tired, they're going to think I'm beat, golpeado. What do you mean I'm so beat? And so that is really important to learn. For example, when I watch my shows in Spanish, and I learned that instead of like first to say yes, in addition to saying sí, that a lot of times in slang in Mexico, people say Simón. Then that is like that's a huge language learning that I learned and that I love using. Now, how is it used in informal conversations? The use of idioms and figurative language. And so here I just grabbed the Santa Fe New Mexican and for an example, but of course we can pull any of this off of the internet. So materials such as new articles, interviews, and blogs contain idiomatic expressions, a blessing in disguise. Hit the ground running. But we need to be able to draw from real and authentic materials because our students are interested if it's real and authentic. Now, I want you to think about your own classrooms, your own students, your own content. What are real, relevant, meaningful, and appropriate topics for you and your students? And this is a cup of tea that I had yesterday, and it said, let your energy be used to build and not destroy. Thinking about your content, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Thinking about your content, your students. What are relevant, meaningful topics? Content. Exchange, oh yeah, exchange students. Okay, TikTok videos, absolutely. My gosh, does everybody live on TikTok? Karaoke for students to practice. Pop in there what's some of your content with your students. What do you, when you go back in to teach either tomorrow, on Friday, or on Monday, what is your content? Food is always relevant. Absolutely. Video games and movies. What grades do you teach? What content do you teach? What grades? We made TV commercials. Oh no, power is out in San Pedro Sula. Ay, Yuri. Gossiping, okay. What content do you teach? Gossiping, yeah. High school kids, Alma, great. Okay. Are we talking, or is it pure English? Do you also weave some social studies in there? Do you weave some political science? Menus, brochures, absolutely. Dilawar, we're going to talk about that. Technology, podcasts, actors, singers, influencers, cultural traditions. Because if it's not related to our students, however old they are, it's not related, they're not going to care about the language. Excellent. Let's keep that. Let's dive back in. I'm going to share my screen again. Here we go. Let's go ahead and keep those ideas coming. Here we go. Now, when you select news articles as learning tools with the appropriate complexity, that's where you, with your teacher expertise, this is, we're not just grabbing any old article, any old anything. You know your students, you know what's interested in. I mean, sports, soccer, el fútbol. Bring those articles in. Look at what was happening over the weekend. Read them in class. Skimming and scanning for main ideas. Skim and scan is an incredibly important tool for our students to learn. You pick out the main ideas. Vocabulary in context activities, but have it come from real world materials. Debates or written responses. That's a wonderful way for our students of any age to use authentic real world materials in authentic and meaningful ways. Absolutely. Keep them coming. Let me keep an eye on the chat. Also teaching English methodologies, Oh, of course, future English teachers. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, thank you. Okay, here we go. Now, how do these real world materials enhance their learning? Different registers. So what are we talking about with different registers? As we mentioned earlier, a formal email. Hello, estimado, somebody, as opposed to, hola, amiguita, a formal email or a casual podcast. I am the biggest believer. I listen to podcasts in Spanish all the time for myself as a Spanish language learner. I'm curious, are any of you using podcasts? If so, will you pop them into Henry? Great. Will you pop it? Thank you. Pop it into our chat. That'd be great. A job interview. Let's keep going. Real pronunciation and real intonation. If you want to hear, and if we want our students to learn, how do people actually speak? Pop in a podcast. Absolutely. The intonation, the stress patterns, learning jargon specific related to a specific profession. Brenna, that's a fantastic idea. This builds better listening skills. This prepares them to understand native speakers more fluently. Good. And I'm curious, anybody, and I'm going to share some ideas for podcasts. Anybody else use podcast TikToks related to topics they like to share about? Teresa, I'm curious, what do you notice in their interest level when you do that, when you bring podcasts in? And here are some I want to kind of muse on. Again, I took this photo, again, a million pictures of sunrises and sunsets. This was when I went for my run last week. Okay, for you to be thinking of. Beginning students are afraid. Interesting. Yes, which is why we need to make it so safe. What content is or are your students studying? And actually, content can be singular or plural. Okay, how could films be used? So we know a Jurassic Park. Which films and why? Think about your students. And Henry, I want to jump in. Thank you. Use podcasts with short stories. Students always try to identify voices, sounds, animals, characters. Oh, I love it. Good way to be interested in class. Oh, I love the Learning English podcast. What films could be used? How can interviews be used? And how could articles be used depending if you're secondary, elementary, or higher education? Beautiful. Keep those. Oh, you've used AIs, Darwin. I want to hear more about how you use AI with your students. Okay, so we're going to, unlike textbooks, and this we already are touching base on, it's all about real world. So let's keep going with some ideas. Now, okay, real world grammar and vocabulary, including informal phrases and slangs. And this helps learners understand not only what is grammatically correct, but also what is socially and culturally appropriate. Sorry, I just had something pop up. You know how you have those things pop up on your in your mailbox? I'm back. So this helps socially and culturally appropriate. So this has to do with, again, when I listen to Rosario Tijeras, which you will not be showing to your students, but it has helped me with my vocabulary a ton. It provides relevant and meaningful vocabulary. So let's go ahead and hop over. Now, I am also going to share some ideas about Audible. And Audible, how many of you use Audible? Okay, Henry, I see you're not using Audible. Anybody else? I'm gonna hop out of sharing my screen right now so we can talk about Audible. How many of you, just give me a show of hands, use Audible? Audible. Oh my goodness. Okay, good. Maritza, you use Audible. Fantastic. Anybody else use Audible? Okay, let me introduce you to Audible. So Audible are audiolibros. They are Audible books. And it's incredible how we can use those. So here's, I'm gonna hop back in. So here are some ideas. So for example, and this was, I was thinking of the younger students, although like for me, I love Harry Potter. I adore Harry Potter. So here are some ideas. They're books that you can download, and you can just Google and Google, you can look within the search and you can go ahead and download. So there's wizarding books. There's also, for example, this is my example of how I use Audible, and I'm going to encourage all of you. I only will listen to Audible if they're in Spanish. This is just a little teeny tiny glimpse of my of my uh library, which goes on for but I only will listen if they're in Spanish. So I am going to encourage each of you to play with both with your students, but also yourselves as English language learners. Get on Audible, listen to, and so I do it when I run. I run every day. And so I figure it's a twofer. So I'm getting my exercise, but I'm also always listening to Audible and acquiring language while I'm listening. And I only allow myself to stop and look up 3 words. That's because I got to be able to finish my run. I got to get to work. So that's my rule for myself, is to stop and listen to 3 words. So, all right. Now, thinking about films and movies, and this is where I almost did use the Jurassic Park, but I went with Lord of the Rings because I was trying to think of, okay, what's a film that when I was thinking of, that really highlights things like requesting, apologizing, persuading, or giving opinions. And I thought of Lord of the Rings and any of that whole trilogy. Some of that has to do with because my children they all love, love, love Lord of the Rings. And so, so I went with Lord of the Rings, but Jurassic Park is perfect. Something that draws in something that they're interested in, something that they find meaningful and that they have fun. It should be fun, something that's safe. Something that's safe. What is the key factor in language acquisition and actually in all learning? The key factor is students have to feel safe. Students of all ages, everybody has to feel safe. So, strategies for understanding and responding in real time. Now, so we've gone, what does this mean for you and your students? And I'm going to hop out of share so we can see each other. And I'm curious, so we know Jurassic Park, what are some other podcasts or films that you use and that you have found to be helpful? Because this is our time to share ideas. Mostly speaking assignments, shadowing tongue twisters, interesting ideas to develop oral competence. Oh, Jocelyn, you have to use Audible. Great. What are some other films? We know Jurassic Park. I suggested Lord of the Rings. I'm going to go, whoops, rings, except I got to spell that correctly. What are some other ones? I'm going to suggest Harry Potter. For language learners of all. Oh, Inside Out. That's a great one. That's a great one, Brenna. Super. Other resources for movies. Inside Out. It's a storytelling called Survivor. I don't know that for A1 and B1 levels. Interesting. Feel like they would judge the way they're speaking. We watched The King's Speech. Beautiful, beautiful. That is, and for those of you who haven't seen The King's Speech, he stutters. That's beautiful. So for students to feel safe. I like to use small talk technique to hear them use the language spontaneously so they feel safe. Oh, Dilawar, Finding Nemo. Absolutely. At Finding Nemo and Luca. Luca is another great one along those lines. If you haven't seen Luca yet, Up. Beautiful. Star Wars. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. Let's dive back in. Keep those ideas coming. Absolutely wonderful. These are resources. It's our ideas to share together. Now we're going to loop back around these ideas about being able to use menus, websites, travel brochures, job postings, and videos. And again, all of this is available online. So while I grabbed a newspaper in real life, you know, any of that is available online. We're so blessed with that. So what about travel? So we're talking about students, and we're of all ages, and the whole idea about why do we learn language? And I know this is something that has come up with every teacher, and honestly, like every country I work with, one of the things that comes up for teachers again and again and again is relevancy. Why am I learning English? I was just in Colombia. Why am I learning English? And the teachers talked about they don't see the relevance. They don't see the excitement. They think it's just a single dimensional in a book. What about travel podcasts? And so here are some that I literally just Googled, travel podcasts for youth. And all of these came up. Zero to Travel, all the radio, family road trip, trivial podcast, because it gets them out into the world. It gets them, okay, where is English going to be relevant and meaningful? And it's fun and it's different. So here are just some ideas I wanted to share with us. And here are some more ideas I wanted to share. And I liked this one because you see this up here where it says good housekeeping. And this one that means it's going to be completely age appropriate and safe. If this is good housekeeping, it means you do not need to worry about any age inappropriate content. And so the best podcast for teens that will keep them glued to their headphones. And so please feel free to grab, take screenshots. These are ideas for you to look up later. Hopefully to provide as many tools for your teaching tool belt as possible in this little time, in our brief time together. Now, do we just plug them into podcasts and a free-for-all on your own? No, of course not. We need to scaffold and structure it. So, pre-listening skills. We predict the content. Well, what do you think we're going to hear in this podcast? I don't know. What do you think? We'll write down that vocabulary. Let's think about it. Talk about it with your friends. During listening, identify main ideas and take notes. Remember, when students are listening, when students are of all ages, they have to have a task. Otherwise, it becomes a memorization lesson. And it's not about how much can you memorize from what you just heard, it's how much what you're learning. So if they're listening, if they're reading, always have a task. Post-listening, discussion, thinking, talk with your friends. What did you like about that? What surprised you? What didn't you know? And role play. So how can this tie in? They hear the patterns of speech, different accents, different registers. Because of course, listening to different, I'm going to pop in here real fast. Listening to different podcasts, whether it's from England, whether it's from the United States, depending on where it's from the United States, there will be different accents. I have a very Midwestern accent. But what did I just do? In the United States, there is also a very Southern accent, and it's a very slow accent. And that provides all kinds of opportunity to explore. And I'm not even going to try to pretend to do a British accent. My son was here, he could do it beautifully. But that onto itself provides all kinds of new content. And back to sharing, thinking about so students have fun. So here's another resource, the ESL Laboratory. And there are all these lessons from Emily, Speak Like Emily in Paris. So you know what shows your students like, what they're interested in. There are so many rich resources out there where it's like draw on shows that they like, and there are lessons around that. There are lessons that are already created around that, or it could be that you develop lessons around that. you know what shows your students like. I would love to know what are some of the shows that your students like. Pop them into the chat. Oh, the Hunger Games. Totally. The first time I found out the content of the Hunger Games was when my now 20 somethings were, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I was like, what is the content of those movies? It was before, it was when it was just coming out and before it really became huge and known. La Forja. Now, I don't know about that, Teresa. I want to learn more about it. Okay, brainstorming at the top down, bottom up processing. So here is an example of a potential lesson you might be able to do. Now, okay, so we want them to be able to respond appropriately. And so let's look at finally working with authentic materials improves critical thinking. They have to be able to think in real time. Again, not memorization and regurgitation. So extract key information, make decisions, and respond appropriately. So we're thinking in real time here. Again, not summarizing, not memorizing, not, worksheets. So means they're not just learning the language, they're learning how to use it in context. Okay, best practices. Yet another sunrise from one of my runs. So set clear learning objectives. And by the way, that's without a filter, just so you know, all of these are without filters. That's really what the sunrise and sunsets look like in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So we need to set clear learning objectives, which again, you with teacher expertise, that's up to you. Scaffold tasks to build confidence. The whole point is not to trick the students. The point is to put firm ground under their feet so that as they learn and grow, they feel ever more confident. Combining skills like we do in real life and encourage reflection and feedback. So the whole point, it's because I love to be able to see you. The whole point is this scaffolding and building skills so it makes the ground firm under their feet. That's what we want. And as we build, remember the whole Vygotsky's, the ZPD and the where the zone of proximal development, where we learn more with the more capable peer, and we want to continue to set up more capable and more capable. And so that is where that is. Let us go ahead and dive back in. I'm going to share again. Learning process more fun. Absolutely. Here we go. Here we go. Gracias, David. Gracias, gracias. Okay, so adapting for proficiency levels. Let's look at this. Again, your teacher expertise. And I want to make sure we have time at the end for questions and answers, or for questions and conversation also. The beginner, use visuals, simplify language, guided notes, focus on the gist. We're going to focus on chunking. Group work for intermediate, and advanced, encourage inference, analysis, discussion, debate. And here I'm really thinking about you also as advanced English speakers and bringing what you know, again, that expertise into the classroom, and also as a language learner. Like I first learned Spanish when I went to live in Mexico and Chihuahua when I was 16 years old. Every day, I still am trying to make my Spanish better. Every single day, I'm out there running, trying to make my Spanish better. So, because it makes it fun. So again, I'm going to ask you to skim and scan and pop into the chat. Which of these resonates with you? How do real world materials increase engagement? News articles make it relevant, meaningful? Reflect real language, increases student interest. When learners are curious or emotionally engaged, they're more likely to participate. I'm just curious. Of course, they're all real. They're all true. We know that this is all. Which resonates for you? Let me find my chat here. Oh, I'm glad that you like those teaching suggestions. Just skim and scan just a couple of words in our chat, which is go ahead and pop it into the chat while you're doing that. I am going to go ahead and share some information while please keep popping that in there. And then I'm going to open up for conversation for all of us. This is something, and I'm going to, I will share it at the end, or if you just write me. I love the power of the early magic hours. They're a huge part of my teaching life. This is me just wanting to share something that feeds me as a teacher. And so I would like the blue and the pink. I wanted to share this with you and I will pop that into the chat for you. Rise, reflect, renew the power of early morning. I just got back from the ranch. If you pop this into Google, you'll see so many pictures and videos of the ranch. Or if you write to me, I will share videos of the ranch, or I'll pop them into the chat. That's just something fun because I love to connect and would love to see more about your context and your teaching. This is ways to get a hold of me. And so please feel free to take a screenshot. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. One of my favorite shirts, read books, drink evil, drink coffee, fight evil. I would very much love to stay connected. We can continue this conversation. I'm going to go ahead and close my screen now so we can see each other. But again, I would love, love, love to stay connected. And let me stop sharing. Here we are together. Any questions, ideas, takeaways, anything? This has been a wonderful, wonderful shared time. Be curious is my way. Fantastic. Anybody else? Any questions, ideas, key takeaways? Sally, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful you were here. And I think we only have a few minutes left, if I'm correct. And so I just would love to say thank you so much for inviting me, for including me. And oh, I'm so glad you said it, Irma strategies. Please let me go ahead and include right here. I'm going to include how to get, you can get a hold of me. This is where you can see WordPress. This is where you can see those photos of everything. This is my email. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the conference. And again, thank you so much, Doctora Ulloa. I don't know if you're here. Muchísimas gracias, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope we will stay in touch and have a wonderful rest of your conference. Yay, let's stay grounded. Enjoy. Yay. Bye. Thank you, thank you. Real world materials are the best. Where can I find your books, Fernando? They're on Amazon, actually. Yeah. Thank you so much. Wonderful to see you. Maybe with some of us saw each other last year. I hope to see you again next year and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your conference. Oh, Dilawar, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Dilawar, go way back. Hugs, 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 hugs. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Doctor. It was a very nice presentation. I really enjoyed it. Thank
I'm
you
so
for
glad. Let's stay in touch. Okay.
Yeah.
Adios. Gracias.
Just a quick reminder, we're going to have a short break right now. And after that, we're going to move to the next session, the role of social media in English learning. So please stay tuned and see you soon.
What time is already?